So thank you to everybody who's joined already for today's ETRO U. There has been a lot of discussion at ETRO for the last 2 years on our project schedules and our standards and templates and tools. And so today I'm very excited to be announcing to you that we have a new template with a production guide. We have new software, and then we're going to talk about what's next. So joining me on the ETRO U today, and I'm just a facilitator, they're going to do all the talking. First of all, we have Chris Hancock. He has developed our template in conjunction with Dan and our project directors and a few others across the organization, as well as authored a guide. So he'll take you through the philosophy of this. This is not a deep dive session whatsoever. This is an introduction session. Also with us, we have Ben and Yasmin from Outbuild. They are from our new software provider for all schedules. So they will then take you through what to expect from Outbuild. And then I'll touch on what the steps are after today, after this initial introduction call. So I will now turn it over to Chris to handle our new template. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, afternoon, guys. Is it possible to share my screen? Is that?
Yes, you can. Let me just make sure I stop.
Should be a green button in the bottom of the Zoom window.
Oh, yeah, there we go. I'm just trying to find the right. Right. Yeah, so can you guys see my screen now? It should have the schedule with Outbuild on there. Beautiful. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know, for everyone who's not hasn't met me before, I'm Chris Hancock. I'm a scheduler. I've been scheduling for 20 plus years in the UK, and in the last 11 years I've been in BC. So yeah, we put this schedule template together with all of the ETRO key sort of players. And so essentially, I'm just going to give you a quick run through of what we're showing here. So this template at the moment has been loaded into Outbuild, which I think Ben's going to talk you guys through a little bit about the Outbuild software program. But essentially, like what we have is we have a work breakdown structure that's set out in 7 silos. So at the moment, we have our project title. We've put this schedule software template together. It's meant to have all of the main key headings for a schedule for you guys to like have a preloaded start to make sure we've got everything housed in the same position. The idea with this is that we have a consistent schedule. It doesn't matter which ETRO project you're on, we can open it up and everything's housed in the same locations. And so within this, each area, the way this software works is we've got a key milestone like heading for the task item, and then there's a description box that kind of explains what the rules are or the sort of guidance around how you populate this schedule. So the idea of this is like under pre-construction, there's another set of subcategories in each one of these sections that cater for design, and then within that design there's conceptual schematic design. At the moment, these are just headings. Once we get into the idea with this is once you take on your project schedule, your RFP or what place you take your schedule from, all these preloaded headings are something and data that you can collect from the RFP document or the front end pre-construction design dates and stuff, deliverables. And then the construction schedule, at the moment, these have got, again, the preloaded headings, mobilization, hazmat, demolition. And then within these subsets, they might have a few descriptions of bulk excavation. But these are just sort of template headings for you to then build the schedule off. The idea with this is if there is something, if your project doesn't have hazmat or demolition on it, you just simply delete that line item. So that's kind of the flavor of the template at the moment. We've got, like I said, there's 7 main headings. The first section we call key projects and milestones. This is typically for the owner's representative. It's like an executive summary, I guess, snapshot at the top of the schedule. Any key milestones and dates that we want to track or we want the owners to see, we typically put them up here. But this is, you typically link this project milestones back from once you've built out the construction schedule. Once you've built out your construction schedule, you kind of then link these back up to start alongside the start of the activity or scope. The next section is contract award and administration. And so within this section, it's RFP submissions, letter of intents, subcontract buyout. And so that's kind of housed in that section. And so what we say is if anything's not relevant to your project, you just delete the heading, because these are just they're just title blocks for you to insert data below each activity to further build upon as we sort of develop the schedule. And so the idea with this is for anyone who is going to be new to start building out schedules. Like I'm always around on the phone for this as you start building this out. If anything sort of is a question mark or you don't understand the way this is laid out, I'm around on the phone to talk to. But also I've produced a production guide that sort of you can follow the guide that will talk you through each one of these 7 key headings. So there's a slide that tells you what the project's milestones is about, what's in contract award, and how you would fill out or populate your items in there. Pre-construction, again, I said we've got design section, a BIM section, drawing section for design, like 90% contract documents, permitting, bid leveling, subcontract procurement, long lead items. The next section down is third-party engagements. So these are typically items that are not necessarily in our contract, but we have to manage them or monitor them. Normally, these are like these can be stuff like civil systems or tie-ins and stuff that are outside of our scope that the owner or representative will want us to capture. I always put this section in here because if anything goes wrong that's not in our control, then we need to show how and why this is impacting our project. So the next section down is enabling works or early works construction. Again, these are just preloaded headings. You put in, if you have enabling works or early works scopes in your project, you add it all underneath this heading. If you don't have it, you just delete the bar. And then again, within the construction, I kind of touch this, but construction, you've got mobilisation, hazmat, excavation, substructure works, superstructure works, building envelope, interior finishes, vertical transport, parkade and site works, building systems. And again, within these are just the main headings for you to build off. They've got some subset of information there if it's relevant. You might be building a wood frame structure, you could be building a concrete structure, you could have a mixture of both. If you don't have the wood frame structure, you just delete that heading. And then I'll just quickly show you guys my other screen. Okay. Sorry guys, you have to forgive me. I'm having a bit of a hard time with this. I haven't used this software for a while. Okay, so this is the schedule production guide. This is what you would read alongside your schedule when you're building it out. And this just kind of explains and talks through the work breakdown structure, which is the housing of how you like these 7 silos of information. So that's what this is saying. The title block at the moment, it's got a blank title. It says project. Project title insert here. So you type in the name of your project in there. That's your starting point. And then every activity or any task that you want to capture in your project will be able to house in one of these 7 headings. So that's kind of the idea of it. And this is at the moment, this is like I'm going to say it's a beta stage testing. We're like this. We're testing this at the moment. We're rolling it out, but any feedback or guidance from you guys once you start touching it and using it, if you think there's something that's a bit confusing or it's not clear for you as you read through this guide related to building a schedule, then just shout and we can like reiterate this and sort of dial it back a little bit or put some more detail in as we need. But yeah, so essentially you've got a template that's now loaded into Outbuild and you have a production guide which you can read alongside your schedule to help you build out your schedule.
Cool. Thanks, Chris. I know that's a very high level overview, everyone.
Yeah, sorry, it's a lot to try and get through, so I was trying to be quick.
But it is. And Chris will be available to project teams and help you to go through these things, and also distribute his contact information immediately after this ETRO U. So that brings us to section 2, which we will turn over to Ben and Yasmin to take us through Outbuild and introduce us to the software.
Ben, do you want me to go first?
Yeah, if you want to just do a quick demo and yeah.
So my name's Yasmin, everyone. I'm an account executive here based in Los Angeles, California. Been with Outbuild coming up on 3 years soon. So today's really about formally introducing you guys to Outbuild. You guys have already done the work. Your team's put a lot of time and energy into evaluating it, pressure testing it, and making sure it's the best fit for ETRO. So I'll introduce Outbuild and give the teams that haven't seen it yet a chance to get familiar. So with that, sit back and relax, guys. And all right, so Outbuild has been created by a team of builders, and we came together to tackle one of the biggest problems in the industry. And historically, the schedule's been created in a silo. So it's disconnected from what's happening in the fields, and that's led to duplicate entries and messy handoffs and misalignment. So what we're doing is streamlining that and connecting everything and putting it in one place so that data flows cleanly and teams are able to stay in sync better. So this is fully web-based. It's a complete replacement for MS Project. We'll be doing all of our scheduling and planning here. It's unlimited users, unlimited projects. That includes pre-con, bid, estimating schedules as well. So with that, when I first open up this project, it's taking me to my scheduling module. So it drops me into my master schedule. This is our CPM replacement. And building out a schedule is pretty straightforward. So if I want to come in here into foundations and add in a bit more scope, I click this plus sign, I added my new activities. I'm going to give these guys some durations. And then from there, I can tie these in logically and input them here in my predecessor and successor column. Can also drag and drop, create finish to start, my start to start relationships. Can double click here, add some lag, give this a 5-day offset, and that pushes my Gantt bar over. So just from a schedule creation standpoint, it's a lot more simple, a lot easier. So now my schedule's pretty well put together. The next process would be for me to save a baseline. So I can come in here, create a new baseline. There's no limits. And it shows us very clearly how far ahead or behind we are based on that snapshot of our activity. So footings, I'm 4 days ahead of schedule. Steel structure, I'm 3 days behind schedule. When I'm ready to push this into Procore, I just hit schedule update. Hit new update once, it syncs into Procore, into everybody using Procore. It gives us that latest info. Let's see. If I want to create a PDF, if I want to create a PDF and show it to an owner, I can come in here, format into one page, shows up cleanly there. If I want to show my critical path, my work breakdown structure, that's all there as well. So that was very high level of the schedule. I do want to jump into the look ahead, which is really where the magic is going to happen. So we have these numbers that are within these activity bars. I got a 10 in slab on grade. I got a 6 in footings. That's calling out to the number of tasks my superintendent has built out in my look ahead. So now jumping into the second module, my look ahead module, it's going to by default pull in my 4-week look ahead. And when I come in here, the first thing I see is MEP risers. I have 16 days to work with. I see my start date. I see my end date here. And all you're really doing to build out a look ahead is you're clicking this plus sign, adding a couple new tasks in here. We're going to assign it to the right crews. Let's give this guy some color. And then from there, we're just going to be dragging and dropping it to where it fits within the sequence of work. So this is coming up behind. This is going to be 2 days. This is coming up next to that. And that's going to drag out to 3 days. So again, calling out to the simplicity, clicking a plus sign, assigning the right contractor and crew, which is coming from your directory and Procore, and then fitting it within that sequence of work. And then as I'm walking the job and my task is 100% complete, I can update this number, which is updating your schedule percentage in real time. So it's eliminating that process of sitting down and going over the manual process of going over our updates. Let's see, roadblocks. Now, with Outbuild, we're able to flag constraints in our look aheads and protect our plan to make sure that these dates are happening as they're scheduled. So I can come in here next to this new task, click this plus sign, select the type of roadblock that I'm assigning. So okay, we need 3 guys to get caught up.
So just to kind of elaborate on this with, so for everybody who's watching, we've built out that initial schedule from that template. You hand that over to your field teams, they're planning in more detail. Then they finally take that step back and they say, okay, I've got this great plan, but what am I waiting on? Do I have an RFI out there? Is there a change order? Some other decision that's preventing me from working? And she's creating that roadblock to help raise that red flag of, here's the issue, here's my action item. And it's going to allow us a lot of visibility on the look ahead through some communication and through the roadblocks tab, which I'm sure she'll show. So just to kind of connect it there for you guys.
Thank you, Ben. Yeah, that does 3 things. So it's sending an email out to that person who we're holding accountable to resolve this issue. It's also showing up cleanly in my look ahead, and it also populates in this roadblocks log. So this is going back to accountability, that proactive measure that aligns everybody together. And the important thing here is that now we have a running log that we can manage as a team. So we have this imagined during one of your foreman meetings, and we have a list of everything that, what's coming due, when is it due before it delays us, who's responsible for getting this answer back to us, and if it doesn't happen in time now, how far are we behind?
This can align with your whiteboard on site. I'm never going to tell you to stop doing that. But if you take what's on that whiteboard and put it here, now your project manager, your PE who's in the office knows what you're facing in the field. You can drive production, you can keep your team safe, and then have that support and that backup from the office. That's really what we're trying to hit home here.
Exactly. And let's say, jumping back into the look ahead, we see our end dates, but let's say that a task pushes outside of that navy blue bar. So we want to be able to communicate that delay back to our schedule, because by design, we don't have logic in our look ahead, but we do in our schedule. So let's say that this new task pushes out here, and we just came out with a more enhanced version of our schedule impact. So I'll let Ben actually speak to that, but this pops up communicating that I need to let whoever's managing the schedule know that we might miss on this key date.
Yep. And if you can click that for me, Yaz, and to her point, this is something that we released today. It's an enhancement to an existing tool, which allows us to track changes happening in the field and connect that with our schedule. So we have an inspection, it is impacting our steel structure, it's on our critical path. And then a really nice feature here is we're allowing for delay types. So this is the first step in creating a change log for your entire project. Now we can see excusable delays, non-excusable, compensable, and non-compensable. And I will definitely define those for you if you're unfamiliar with it during our official training and onboarding. But moving through this workflow, which is supposed to be an easier workflow, is now building out that documentation as you go. It's reflecting what's happening in the field and connecting it to your schedule. So it'll make more sense in our trainings, but just be aware that is the bigger picture there.
Amazing. But yeah, so we're 4 modules, about 16 buttons. We make it easy for you guys to plan at whatever level that you guys want to, and then we have metrics that are attached to it. I will kick it over to you, Ben.
Yep. And maybe Karina, I'll hop it right back to you, but just for anybody who hasn't seen me yet, my name's Ben. Unfortunately, you're stuck with me. I'm going to be your trainer and onboarder once we move into that official training piece, and I'll do an overview of that in a few moments. But I've been working with some of you. It's been a pleasure so far, and I'm excited to meet the rest of the team.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben and Yaz. So what's next? Today is a very short kickoff meeting for our schedules. So there's lots of work to come next. So depending on where your specific project is in construction, some of them will remain in MS Project. We're not going to take UBC BD biodiversity and put it in Outbuild. They're too close to the end. Hopefully this month they finish. But other project teams we may transfer over. And this will be a discussion you have with your project director. Project teams that have beta tested or are already currently using Outbuild. So Din Tai Fung and BC Place were two of our beta tests. BC Place is continuing to use it. Din Tai Fung used it for their completion schedule and found a lot of advantages. And that was one of the drivers for us to pull the plug on moving to Outbuild. And then Aritzia Oak Ridge is currently in the software. There's a few other teams as well, but these are the teams that have had training. The project directors will be your liaisons. So both to Ben and Yasmin for the official training and Chris for scheduling. You can reach out to Chris directly, no problem there. We do want to, however, respect Ben and Yasmin's time so that we don't have, 40 people from ETRO contacting them for training. So our project directors will be our liaisons. So when you meet with them on your internal team meetings, make sure that this is on the agenda. They're in discussions already about what makes sense between the three of them. Any new pursuits that we are currently working on. So for instance, the aquarium project that we won, that pursuit schedule was completed in Outbuild. So you're going to start seeing these come to you. So it'll be very important as you get onto those projects that you're provided with the training needed. On the left, I just wanted to highlight that Outbuild does also have an iPad application. So our superintendents, you guys have your iPad minis available to you. You can have the schedule up and with you as you walk the sites, and you can start updating things once you've received training. So that is the implementation plan. This is not going to be an overnight thing. It will be a gradual transition, but we're super excited. We know this is something that you guys have all been asking for. And so we're happy to finally have reached a point where we can tell you exactly what we're going to do and what the implementation plan is. So we have 5 minutes for questions. Does anybody have questions?
And if it makes sense, I'll also be happy to share my screen and give a kind of an overview of what that official training and onboarding looks like.
Yeah.
I know we're going to split that into different groups, but so everybody has an idea there too.
Yeah, go ahead, Ben. And then if there's any questions,
Yeah.
I think there's a raise hand feature in Zoom that you could use.
Yep, a raised hand feature. We've got the chat, and if you just unmute, I'll be happy to answer any questions. But I do want to share with you kind of what our official training and onboarding looks like. I think of this as a framework. This is what we're going to try to build off of, but we always want to be flexible. And ultimately, we use the word partner very seriously. We want to be sure that it is ongoing support and an ongoing partnership. So what we've moved through thus far is a kickoff call and an announcement call. We're in that announcement call right now. I've been working diligently with Karina over the last 2 years now. And we've kind of been strategizing over how we want to do this thing, and we've implemented it on a few projects. And those teams have gone through some form of this training during that. And so just to give you an idea of what that training will look like, typically we do 3 training sessions over 3 weeks. They are 1-hour sessions. And we really start with diving a little bit into settings. So making sure we know how to add users, how to build a project, and then introducing that look ahead. And depending on time during that first session, we'll do a full overview or just introduce it and move into that deeper in the next trainings. In that second training, we'll pick back up with the schedule. We'll introduce those next steps with the Procore integration, connecting your submittals, what RFIs look like from Procore to Outbuild, and then really kind of deep dive into that look ahead. So it's a kind of a tailored approach there that allows you some time to use the system and come up with questions. And then the third and final training as a part of that official series is just a live Q&A. That's an opportunity to ask questions, to fill in gaps of our knowledge, touch up on areas that need a little bit more focus, and then establish next steps. Is there another training session needed, or do we want to check in a few months from then, or a month from there, or a couple weeks? So we've got a lot of different options there. It's my expectation that I will be working through this series with at least 3 or 4 different teams or 3 or 4 different groups. So just know that that is available. And then there is always ongoing support. So we have a live chat available that goes to a real human based in the US with a background in construction. You might see my name pop up, or Mike or Skylar. We have training videos, we have knowledge base, live webinars, or community page. So we do try to provide a variety of resources for you so that you can get answers when you want and how you want. So just kind of a brief overview of that. If there's any questions on that, I'm happy to answer those along with any other general questions about Outbuild. All right.
If everyone's okay, we can say thank you to our presenters and to those that joined. And please keep in touch with your project director on next steps. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, folks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.